to Trade Secrets. I'm Paula and I'm a florist.
The thing to remember about Oasis, if you want to reuse it again, is never let it dry out, because once it's dried out, it won't take up water properly again. So keep it stored in a bucket.
Here's one for your small plants when you go on holiday. Pipe cleaner into plant, submerge it into water, the water will draw up slowly. On your return from holiday, the plant will be perfect. Bingo.
Don't buy roses in tight bud. They need to have the petals unfurling, then they'll open beautifully. If you do buy them in tight, very, very tight bud, they may never open, and that could be a disappointment.
To help prevent petals on dried flowers and arrangements made from dried flowers from dropping, use hair lacquer. It acts like an adhesive and stops them dropping.
Poppies don't last very well when they're cut. This is because their stems exude a sap. You can get round that by singeing the ends of the stem in a naked candle flame like so. Then you'll find the flowers last a lot longer. Go.
One of the problems you have when you're repotting a plant is to make sure that you have the compost all round the pot. What I have here is a plant pot exactly the same size as the one that we're repotting. Drainage in the bottom. Put this into the pot, and then take your compost and tease it in all the way around, just putting it in with your fingers, making sure you go all the way around with your fingers to make sure it's nice and compact. And then very slowly tease out the plant pot. And there you have a nice wall of compost. Take your plant, submerge it into the pot, one plant repotted.
There are lots of ways of drying flowers. Have you ever thought about doing it in a microwave? For this little rose, 3 minutes on a medium setting and it should be done. I'll be back in a minute and we'll see the result.
A very useful tip to encourage a dried rose to open and fluff up is to hold it over a steaming kettle. And then just encourage the petals to open and they'll dry back. And you've got a much fuller rose.
If you've got droopy tulips, don't despair. Just wrap them up in newspaper tightly, and this also applies to roses, and put them in deep water right up to their necks overnight, and they'll be up like soldiers in the morning.
If you find your roses wilt, this is sometimes because an airlock has got caught in the stem and the flower can't take up the water. What you need to do is cut about 1 centimetre off the ends of the stem, wrap the roses into paper to protect them, boil a kettle, and plunge the stems in for just 10 seconds. Then, when you put them in deep water, the airlock should remove and the flower will revive.
Time's up. Let's see how it got on. Oh yes, a dried rose in 3 minutes.
Members of the Euphorbia family, of which the poinsettia is best known, exude a milky sap that's a great irritant to the skin, so be careful and always wash your hands after using it.
The worst thing that you can do is to leave the flowers in direct sunlight on the windowsill, or near the central heating, or on top of the television. Far better in a well-ventilated part of the room that hasn't got direct sunlight coming into it.
If you want your flowers to last a long time, you should never leave them next to fruit, because fruit gives off a hormone called ethylene gas, which prematurely ages flowers.
It's worth remembering that maturing flowers also give off ethylene gas. So just remove them. Tidy up the vase, and you'll enjoy the flowers that much longer.
If you need your flowers to last a long time, then don't buy scented flowers, because scented varieties use a lot of their energy being fragrant, and therefore non-scented varieties last longer.
Remember, the stamens on lilies need to be removed as the flowers open. The pollen will damage your clothes and any furnishing fabrics, and also polished wood surfaces.
Sometimes the flower heads are too heavy for the stem. If you've got a hollow stem like this amaryllis, you can simply use a garden cane, easing it up the centre. You can still trim it then to fit your vase, and then the garden cane will provide support for the flower head.
Here's a good way to water your plants while you're on holiday. Fill the bath to about 1 inch of water. Place a nice big bath towel from the top of the bath into the deep end of the water, so that when you put the plants on top of the towel, the water will be drawn up through the towel, and the plants will take the water as they so wish, so that on your return from holiday they will be perfect.
Silk flowers inevitably collect dust, and a very useful tip to remove the dust is to place plain ordinary table salt into a paper bag. Place the head of the flower into the bag and shake vigorously. Shake any excess off the flower, and you will see all the dust has been removed.
It's very important to make sure that your vase is perfectly clean. And it's not enough just to wash it out with washing up liquid. It needs to be soaked overnight in bleach. This will kill the bacteria, which, if it gets into the flowers, will shorten their lives considerably.
If you really want to give your plant a real good watering, how about taking it into the shower with you?